Shortly after my wife and I moved into our apartment, we started noticing weird stuff going on. It's an old building, so first when we started hearing noises in the house, I thought it was just kind of normal creaks and cracks, the foundation of the home. But then the sounds started kind of intensifying. In the middle of the night, I would hear the sound of what sounded like somebody running down the hallway. Another time, and this one really freaked us out, right at 3 a.m., we heard a door in our apartment just slam close. It wasn't like we had the window open and there was wind. I mean, it really freaked us out. And too many strange things, and I don't believe in this supernatural stuff at all, but it was just too many strange things for it to be a coincidence. You know what I mean? Like, I remember one night my wife was asleep, and she starts speaking, and she starts talking in her sleep. She starts going, "No, Gino, you're so fucking annoying and like ugly and fucking stupid and fat." And I go, "This isn't right. This isn't my wife, So the next morning, call maintenance to come out and check out our apartment. Like, hey, we're pretty sure this place is haunted. Can you send somebody over? So they send over this guy, nice enough guy, didn't really speak English. So I'm trying to explain to him, hey, I'm pretty sure that there's a spirit in the home and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah. Let me go grab my tools. And I'm like, no, I don't think you get it. Like, this is bigger than, this is not a tool. This is not something you can handle with a wrench, And he goes, what do you mean? He's like, trying to show me. He's like, do you have a picture? Like, can you show me where this is? And I go, listen, you see the broom levitating in the living room? Yeah, that's not supposed to be happening, okay? So he goes, okay, yeah, let me call the landlord. Never see the guy again. Okay, so again, me and my wife are scared to death. So we do, every time you watch a horror movie with a haunted house, you're thinking, why don't you just get the fuck out of the house? Why don't you just move? So that's what we started doing. We started going on apartments.com. We started looking at a couple different places. But honestly, even with the spirit living in the home, it's still, we just couldn't find something that was a better deal. I mean, the housing market right now is freaking ridiculous. So we decided, okay, let's stay put and let's just try to handle this ourselves. So I hit up some of my goth homies and they put me onto a guy. Named Julian Nightfall. He's like pretty cool. He's like a, kind of like a young guy who apparently will summon and communicate with spirits and figure out a solution for us and this entity to move forward to where we can kind of cohabitate. Because again, I mean, this housing market's ridiculous. So a couple days go by and we get a knock on the door. Julian Nightfall has shown up at the crib and we shoot the shit for a second and then he goes, okay, you guys ready? And we're like, yep, okay, let's do this thing. He pulls out a Ouija board. We're in the kitchen and he just starts going to town. And, he's speaking in tongues. He's like, my wife are kind of looking at each other like, okay, this guy's really putting on a show here, trying to get us to tip him or something. So finally he quits speaking in tongues, and it seems like he's on the other side. He's speaking to the other world that's existing within our apartment. He goes, what's your name? And then the Ouija board starts going crazy. The Ouija board starts going crazy, it's starting going all over the letters and it's spelling the name out. And to be honest, I'm pretty shocked that this is working. And me and my wife are sitting there like, oh my God, who is it? Who's in this house? And he goes, he says his name is Osama Bin Laden. And me and my wife are just sitting there confused, like, the Osama bin Laden? At our apartment? Okay. And my wife is freaked out. I mean, this guy's a freaking terrorist, And my wife goes, does he want to hurt us? He's whittling around the Ouija board again, wind is going around in the living room, papers are flying. And he goes, no, he doesn't mean any harm. In fact, he just wants to be heard. My wife goes, does he have a message? Perhaps an apology for 9/11? Julian Nightfall goes, no, it's a podcast. Oh God, here we go. Another podcast, I say. Another has been from the 2000s trying to stay relevant. But my wife, she's a lot nicer. She goes, oh, okay, what's it about? Julian, again, now he's like channeling Osama bin Laden. He goes, apparently it's called Out of Bounds with Osama. He's really excited about it. It's him talking about sports and current events and his takes on pop culture in general. The house being haunted hasn't really been like a spooky experience, just more so annoying. Every so often in the middle of the night you hear, hot take. The Town is a better gangster movie pound for pound than The Godfather. You'd sit there and you're like, okay, what? Okay, if I'm the GM of a new football franchise and I have to build the franchise around one player, I would pick Justin Herbert over Patrick Mahomes. I would. I really would. Okay. Here's my Mount Rushmore of white guy sayings. Number 1. I don't give a rat's ass. What? Okay, number 2. For Pete's sake. Who's Pete? Number 3. Just living the dream. I love that one, man. In number 4, the bee's knees. Where did they even come up with that one? It was just so boring. His podcast sucked, but you just had to sit through it. This guy's a terrorist. He doesn't care if we're uncomfortable or bored. He's not reading the room. But thankfully, the way it ended is kind of how most podcasts end. It just kind of lost momentum and stopped.